Hello, welcome back to Learn Economia. In this video also we are actually discussing certain questions on UGC net. The first question is the concept which tries to ascertain the actual deficit in revenue account after adjusting for the expenditure of capital nature is termed as what? Is it revenue deficit or effective revenue deficit or fiscal deficit or primary deficit? The correct answer is effective revenue deficit. So you have to understand the meaning of effective revenue deficit. It is actually a revenue deficit which exclude the expenditure on capital generation from grants from central to the state. I mean central government to the state government. And this would signify the amount of capital receipts which are being used for actual consumption expenditure of the government. And this is a new term which was not new, very new, but it is a slightly new term which was introduced during 2011-12 period in the union budget, and now it is considered to be a fiscal parameter. So please take a note of effective revenue deficit, the concept as well as the details of the same. Okay. Now coming to another question, second demonetization of the country in the country with respect to currency notes and in independent India took place during the tenure of which finance minister? It was actually H.M. Patel under his ministership with respect to finance. This was being done. The Janata Party coalition government was led by Morarji Desai, and it was the one which demonetized the currency notes of rupees 1000 as well as rupees 5000 as well as rupees 10,000 on 16 January 1978, and this was mainly to curb the counterfeit currency as well as black money. And during that period, it was H.M. Patel who was serving as the finance minister of India. Third question, India's first long-term fiscal policy was adopted during the tenure of who as the finance minister? Here you can see that it was during the tenure of Vishwanath Pratap Singh that India's first long-term fiscal policy was adopted, and it was in the year 1986. It was in 1986 January. Okay, and it was a part of long-term fiscal policy which was unveiled during that period. Fourth question, which finance commission has used forest cover as a criterion for horizontal distribution of resources in India? Here you have to see that in recommending a horizontal distribution, the 14th Finance Commission, it has used certain broad parameters and changes of population, income distance, forest cover, area, etc. So the correct answer is option D, 14th Finance Commission. Now, which one of the following measures is not likely to aid in improving India's balance of payment position? You have to understand what balance of payment is. Balance of payment actually it is a systematic account of all the transactions made by a particular country with the rest of the world. It would cover your exports, imports, exports in goods, exports in services, exports in imports in goods, imports in services. All these things would be coming under your balance of payment. So actually this would constitute your balance of trade, and apart from balance of trade many other things would be coming which would lead to your balance of payment account, and you have to understand which one is a measure which is not likely to help in improving India's balance of payment position. So options are promotion of import subsidization policy, devaluation of rupee, imposition of higher tariff on imports, and levying of higher duties on exports. The correct answer is option D, levying of higher duties on export, because if higher duties on exports are charged, exports would become costly, and this will make you to export less, and when you export less you will be getting less amount of money as a part of your the receipts which you have to receive as a result of your exports. So your balance of payment position can deteriorate. So imposition of high duty on export is actually doesn't help in improving the balance of payment position, but it on the other hand it can make it worse. Coming to the next question, with reference to Indian economy, just consider the following: bank rate, open market operation, public debt, public revenue, etc. So you have to understand which of the following is or are the components of monetary policy. The right answer is 1 and 2. This is a very direct question. You know, it is bank rate as well as open market operation. In bank rate is the rate charged by bank of on commercial banks for and with respect to open market operation, it means selling and buying of securities. So you know that the Reserve Bank actually uses a set of monetary policy instruments to deal with the problem of inflation, recession kind of situation. So it tries to manage liquidity in the economy, tries to manage money supply in the economy. Thereby, it tries to make a balance of inflation and inflationary trend in the economy, tries to control inflation in such a way that it would try to regulate the money supply in the economy. Now, certain tools used by this Reserve Bank would include repo rate, reverse repo rate, cash reserve ratio, open market operations, statutory liquidity ratio, bank rate. Actually, the Reserve Bank uses both qualitative as well as quantitative measures. And the quantitative measures, we have a set of different measures, and under qualitative measure, another set of measures are there. So, if you have not watched a video which we have done on monetary policy measures, you can go through the video. It will give you a good understanding. A good understanding would be there if you watch those videos on monetary policies. So I don't want to tell a lot about that, because these are the basic things. I hope you are clear about this. So it's a direct question anyway. The first phase of liberalization was initiated in India under the regime of whom? And this too is a direct question. It was under the leadership, or it was under the regime of P.V. Narasimha Rao that the first phase of liberalization was done. And during that time, this Narasimha Rao was the prime minister, and Manmohan Singh was the finance minister. And it was it was during that tenure that the LPG reforms, the liberalization, privatization, globalization was adopted as a package for India. And next question: what do you understand by regressive taxation? This too is a direct question, so I don't want to read all the options. The right answer is option A: tax that takes a large percentage from low income people than from high income people. And this kind of taxation is very much something which is very much bad for the economy, because you are taxing the poor more and the rich less. This will definitely increase the inequality kind of situation in the economy, and this is because this imposes a greater burden on the poor person than rich person. So it is not recommended. Whatever is a kind of economy, whether it is a developing economy or a developed economy, this kind of taxation is not recommended, mainly because it can cause higher levels of inequality. Next question: which of the following best explains the cascading effect of taxation? Uh, this too is a direct question. Just by reading the option, you will be able to understand the right answer. It is option 1 or option A. Sentence 1 only is the right answer. That means that when the taxing position lead to a disproportionate increase in prices by an extent more than the rise in tax. This is known as a cascading effect of taxation. This explains the cascading effect of taxation, and this kind of thing would add to the deliberate loss in the economy, and due to cascading effect, there's a disproportionate increase in prices by an extent more than the rise in tax. That is the main thing. There would be an increase in prices as well as there would be an increase in tax, but disproportionate increase in prices would be there. The prices would increase more than increase in tax. That's it. Now, which of the following is associated with fiscal policy? Inflation, taxation, consumption, and money supply. We have to understand that fiscal policy, it is a measure used by the government. This should include taxation as well as spending to influence the economy. So the main components of taxation are government, main components of fiscal policy is government spending as well as taxation. So the correct answer is option B, taxation. Okay. Now, fiscal drag expresses the impact of inflation on which of the following? The right answer here is tax revenue as well as GDP. Fiscal drag is an economic term which refers to a situation where the government net fiscal position does not meet the net saving of private economy. And fiscal drag is a concept where inflation and earnings growth may push more taxpayers to pay high tax. Taxpayers would be forced into higher tax bracket. Next question, which of the following should be considered as for Pigouvian taxation? Consumption of cigarettes, research for new technologies, burning of fossil fuels, restoration of lost cultural heritage. The answer is 1 and 2. That is, 1 and 3. Option A. That means that consumption of cigarettes and burning of fossil fuels. We have to understand the meaning of Pigouvian tax with respect to this question. This is applied to a market activity which generates negative kinds of externalities. So for those activities which generate negative kinds of externality, we can impose some, this has got certain costs and which will generate negative externalities, and in order to internalize these externality, you can calculate the cost for the same by imposing and by taking into consideration the cost, you can impose some kind of taxation on it, so that you can to an extent internalize the externalities. That's it. Now, Basel III norms target which of the following? Improve the banking sector's ability to absorb shocks arising from financial and economic stress, improve risk management and governance, strengthen banks' transparency. So here, all the three sentences are correct. We know that Basel III is a regulatory accord or agreement which is designed specifically for the banking sector in order to improve the supervision, regulation, as well as risk management in the banking sector. This actually targets the strengthening and transparency of banks. Now, which of the following is a characteristic of progressive taxation? We have to understand what progressive taxation is. This is a kind of taxation where the rate of taxation increases as the tax base amount increases, and you have to understand that the marginal tax rate should be increasing and it should be more than the average tax rate. So this is the right answer. Both 1 and 2 is the correct answer. The marginal tax rate would be increasing and this would be more than the average tax rate. So correct option is option C. Next, consider the following statement with regard to the goods and service tax. GST shall have two components, one levied by the center and the other one levied by the states. And the central GST and state GST are to be paid to a joint account of the central as well as central government and the state government, while the imports would be the zero rated, exports would be subject to GST. So the correct answer is 1, that is GST have two components, one levied by the central and the other one levied by the state. You have to understand this, and actually in GST it is a kind of value added tax, but it is not exactly same as value added tax. It has replaced many indirect taxes which we levy on goods as well as services. And in India, the GST was implemented by the central as well as the state government as central GST as well as the state GST, and exports would be zero rated and import would be levied the same level of taxes as the domestic goods and services, adhering to the destination principle. Now that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Please like, share and subscribe to this channel for more videos, and please be a part of my Telegram channel and Telegram group. You can discuss your doubts there and get it clarified. That's all for today. Thank you.